Sometimes you find some people and they ask you, okay, so this person is really short, or this person has a really like small stature. How did they manage to get into it? And that's where, you know, the mental, especially for officer cadets or people who are going to become officers, it's not just about brute strength. It's also about your mental strength and your ability to reason and come up with ideas on the fly. That's exactly what they're looking for. It's not just about what you can do with you can do like 250 push-ups or 500, you know. That's not it. That's not everything. I mean, it looks good if you have an officer who is that big. No, I'm not. I know. I'm sorry that it sounds like I am, but you also made it through, regardless. You see, and that because that you kind of have the whole package. Let's say the whole package. You're big and strong, and you still have your mental fortitude in line with what they want, you see. So that's it. It's not always about the physical abilities. It's mostly about what you can think, your cognitive skills.
And later on to jump this gun, you know, and take it to the next level. That's exactly what happens in the special forces world. And to be a super soldier and to be an extreme warrior or an ultimate warrior for that matter, you got to, and fairly much to be fair to everybody else in the profession of arms. And this is the tragedy when questions like that are asked and someone feels like you just need to be that guy who's able to just manage things, but you're just mechanical in your ways and means. But again, and by the Constitution, by the way, the profession of arms are actually formed for the sole business of protecting the country from both internal and external aggression, depending on where you fall, be it the internal security machinery or the army for that matter. And the profession of arms is actually a very high reliability organization, where if by the pull of a trigger, the decision flies at 800 meters per second. And someone will drop, definitely, if they are a good firer, the good guy, marksman, sniper, whoever. And you need the right targets to fall, and you need to save the good guys. You know, no questions asked, no stray bullet like it happens with some of our brothers, you know, to be fair. And you agree. And so that real business and the mindset around, you know, the whole sum total of the society, and when they challenge us with such questions, should actually be based on that assumption, not assumption, that's a fact in the first place. And so they should actually know that the business of handling, like literally life in your hands, is so serious a matter to just assume that's going to be in the hands of someone who's just fairly mechanical. If anything, I'd say it requires a lot of mental fortitude, as you're saying, and a lot of exercise of proper cognition to be in the right frame of mind and make proper judgments every other time, not just some of the time.
You know, with one decision,
yes,
you could start a war. You know,
yes,
you could be in a border post, yes, and you just take the decision to fire at someone who you see on the other end. Diplomatic crisis immediately. You know, you need someone who is able to think and rationally make decisions on the ground without having to go back and consult with high headquarters, because some of these decisions are made like this, you know, they're made like this, and they have such huge impact on a lot of things. You start seeing a lot of machinery moving just because one group of people dealt with another group of people, and if they're not smart in their way or in how they think, in how they carry themselves, their emotional, their emotional intelligence is not up to par, then you find someone who reacts all the time and just does things without really thinking about the consequences. And that's not what the military would want. You know, that's not what they would want in their commanders.
Definitely. Yeah. And so, man, it's absolutely clear and it's apparent.
When we are talking about the selection process, the aim is to get the right raw material to actually make that super guy that comes out of that factory institution a super trained, super processed, and super optimized, you know, individual that's charged with the serious business of becoming a commander, and whose decisions are not only impacting himself but have, you know, catastrophic, if you may, you know, far-reaching, you know, impacts as and when things like that do happen. So for guys out there, and this is just the selection, just breezing over without going into the specifics, the right raw material, you got to think about yourself before you actually go out there and strive for it, and which ideally is going to waste some other people's time to try to look for that tiny bit of the correctness in terms of you as a raw material. If you're thinking you're not ready for this business and you're not going to be the guy who's just looking at this as a job, but as something that's you know, is meant to post you in an environment where there is, you know, being self-sacrificial for the higher and the greater good, that is you out there that is going to be looked at as that right raw material. So, I mean, selection process, by and large, very interesting, very, very interesting. For me, it was absolutely interesting. Culture shock and all. It was a cocktail of so many things.
It was quite a lot to handle initially, but then I guess, you know, people just get into the flow of things very fast, because I don't know how long yours took, but ours took about 2 weeks, like a fortnight or so. It was a 3-week one. Maybe my memory is a bit hazy, but I think I kind of remember 2 weeks, and those were like really grueling 2 weeks. And you had the first physical week and the other week where they're just looking at your cognitive skills. Absolutely. And how you're able to think.
I don't know if you played basketball.
Yeah, we did the basketball thing.
And netball as well.
Yeah, I don't even know how to play netball, but you know, we had to do it. I mean,
I was in a team of, whoa, how many guys? I don't know how many people go into a basketball team against the other, but then you are thrashed into the middle of a
game that you haven't played, and all we know is this is a preserve for, you know, our women folk, our sisters.
Yeah, it was kind of baffling. The most shocking thing, however, was how they pit you against each other. Yes. You know, when you go into a certain like group and you have people with the same objective, you tend to have, you know, buddy groups. You know, yeah, you tend to come together and get, yeah. But then they somehow just switch it up and pit you against that guy that was your friend, and you don't even know how to handle that. You're like, oh my God, we have to fight with this guy now. This is just sudden. And I think later on I kind of understood that, you know, this is real life. And in real life, there is no permanence. There is no permanent friendship. There are no permanent relationships. Today, you could be interacting with someone and turns out they're a spy for someone, for another nation, and you have to make the decision to do something about it.
Completely. And that was critical for our trade, or for what we were getting prepared for. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It kind of came through very subtly, but, you know, later on you kind of understand these guys had already started, you know, sort of training you in a way. And they just want to see the people who are able to take those instructions and resonate with them without having to ask too many questions. Some people will be like, oh, why are we doing this? Or why are we doing that? Why do we start marching with the left? And, you know, you just don't want that type of mentality when it's an entire chain of command of orders flowing from this guy to the next, from this guy to the next, you know.
Yes. And as we say, as the saying goes, you know,
by military precision. And I think they were right about that. You can imagine wading into the deepest end of the pool, murky waters, and you are supposed to come out of that environment, very chaotic environment, organized and and take on very organized systems of reasoning and judgment, and just make sense out of that chaos. And it does sure take so much. So, wow, just the finding of the right raw material in the selection process before training proper actually does that. A lot of interesting stuff that go down, a lot of chaos that does happen, you know, therein. It's not enough, you know, that you just got that letter, you just got appointed, or you just got told, hey, you shortlisted you to become one of the hopefuls that will cross the line to start training up as a military, or getting prepared, you know, from junior cadet, you know, all the way to the point where you're commissioned as an officer. I guess that's something that was monumental to my life, and I feel the same. You know, it's something that's given us serious, solid character traits that is, you know, it makes us indefatigable in the face of extreme danger and extreme, basically extremeness, you know, in summary. And I'm really proud of you, happy that to be here as comrades and we're meeting. I'm always really proud to meet guys from the trade, because I know that people can really believe in, people can solidly trust, and people can walk through the business of life together. That's selection done, guys. Lots of stuff. When you come back, we're going to handle training proper going forward. And this is at Byron Adera. Find us on our social, subscribe, wow, comment, share. This is for free, man, and the more people it reaches, the better. No, we are together.
Free knowledge, y'all.
And the most crazy one for me, you know, when you told, you know, from now henceforth, it's gonna be a training proper. Of course, that's everybody knows. So you coming back, you got a short break after selection, so you told go home. Go tell them, you know, bye-bye, I'm gonna, you know, go back to, and you guys won't see me for a very long time.
First of all, I told you right there, training does not start when you get kitted. Training starts immediately when they tell you, you know what, this group is the one that we have chosen. You guys are the ones who are going to start training now, immediately.